a language learning program.
All right, just for the hell of it, this is kind of an off-the-cuff conversation, not really an interview, but Chuck Boldwyn is my guest today, and he attended and spoke at the 9/11 hearings in Vancouver. Both of those presentations are available, and I suggest that you tell somebody about this show, send them the link to the PDF files, which are up on my website, Vancouver 1 and Vancouver 2, and let them watch the, as we walk through it, Now, you know, I've said that the propaganda is really so refined. It's so refined that they have really advanced the art of slavery to the point the slaves don't know they're slaves. And, you know, no one's more enslaved than somebody that don't know they're enslaved. And
you're a paid slave. You get a job, you get money, and you're still a slave.
That's right. As long as you got to you know, we got wars to support, man. And the Christians, what do the Christians really want? And I talk a lot about the Jews, but I'm just as confused by the Christians that bought into the whole Jewish religion scam. You know.
They want to convert them at the end of the, supposedly the end of the world. That's what they're waiting for, to convert them all. That's what I get. They feel that the Jews are savable to Christ, and they're waiting for it so that they can visually see the evidence of Christianity, and then they'll all bow down. Oh yeah, we believe in Jesus Christ. Yeah, we've been wrong all these years. That's what they're waiting for.
Now, I'm looking at your next slide here that says Judy Woods talks about dustification, demolecularization, and, you know, I remember seeing pictures of some of the steel frame of the buildings that were sticking up, and they had like a 90-degree slope to it, a cut to it. So in other words, the incendiary charges, the thermite charges, were placed in such a way around that it cut the steel at an angle like that. So it would just slide down and fall in the same footprint.
Right, it wouldn't stay there. It slides down. The gravity weight will cause it to slide right down that slope. And see, but if you really wanted to do it, why just put it in one place? Why don't you put it at the bottom of the column and at the top of the column? And when it burns through, you take that whole section out, and then it can really fall. And I believe that's what they did in the cores. So it made the external columns on the outside perimeter look like they were bowing, because that's what they concentrated on as part of their theory, that it melted so much that it caused the outer columns to bow and you could see them. But if you cut those core columns away, all the weight's going to be on the outside, and there should be some kind of bowing type, and then you keep cutting and cutting, and then it's going to just fall. That's what they did. I mean, nobody could see inside, so you have to think scientifically how this thing could be explained. And I think that's a very good explanation when I just give you. They could do a single cut. The cuts that you saw were at the ground level, at the point where the steel was like 5 inches thick in the ground level, and then it was 6 inches thick in the basement, 5 inches in the lobby area, up to about 4/16. And then the next section was 4 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches. There's 7 cubes. And the cube that's falling is only a quarter inch. A quarter inch. 6 inches is 24 quarter inches, 24 times thicker. 5 is 20. 4 inches is 16 times heavier and thicker. 3 inches, 12. 2 inches, 8. 1 inch is 4 times thicker. Even the other section is twice as thick if it's a half inch. So it's ludicrous to think that a little tiny section at the top would say weighs 70,000 tons. It doesn't. It just doesn't. So what I'm doing on this particular graphic is to try to show that Judy's ideas of demolecularization are not correct. This is a simple incendiary chemical reaction. And that makes sense because we know that these materials actually do exist, and not only that, they found them in the dust. So there's your evidence. Where does demolecularization come from? It's bullshit. The same thing with transmutation. She said transmutation occurred because of the John Hutchinson effect. That's a total bunch of bull, and she produced no evidence whatsoever. She just said it. She just said elements were changed into other elements. That's total crap. If there were changes, it had to do from the nukes. And the nukes, when uranium explodes, when the reaction goes off, you produce barium and strontium as ions, and then with radioactive decay, you produce a whole series of daughter atoms. And when you find those elements, that's absolute proof that a fission occurred. And that's what Jeff Prager did from the evidence that the U.S. government collected from the dust samples. They tested for a percentage of every single element in the dust sample. 100%. You take a sample, you weigh it, that's 100%. And then you get parts per million for every single one of the elements: silicon, barium, strontium, potassium, silicon, everything, carbon. And you lay it out, and you see these elements are all these daughter cells of a fission reaction. So what's a good scientist think? Except, well, here's the evidence right here. The government didn't cover it up properly. We've got all the evidence the government's provided for us.
Now, let me see if everything that you're saying is true, and it's true because it's provable, it's documentable. You've done this scientifically, you know, as a engineer and physics expert, teacher.
Right.
If that's true, what we have here, what 9/11 was an undeclared nuclear war initiated by Israel on the American people.
You're exactly 100% right.
And the same thing is happening in Iraq in the use of enhanced uranium rather than depleted uranium is a act of war.
War by deception,
the motto of the Mossad, and then add to that a few nukes in Fukushima to take out those plants and something to generate a tsunami.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And all of that radiation is coming right here, right now. This is war. Atomic war has been declared. You know, now I've made the statement here, somewhat facetiously, that what if we have been in Armageddon for the last 100 years and the press failed to tell us?
Well, it was supporting their agenda that they didn't tell us what we need to know. They tell us only what they want us to know, to deceive us, to make the sheeple believe. Whatever they tell you, they know it's going to believe, and that's why Netanyahu says we own America. And it's true, they do. Until these people, you need a whole army to go door to door to every door in this country, knocking on it, distributing literature, DVDs, telling them what to look at. Look at the underground, stop looking at this bullshit, turn off your TVs, cancel your cable TV, cancel your newspapers, cancel your magazines that are giving you all these lies about what's going on all over the world. It's all lies, it's all bullshit. The Jew-controlled government is doing coups on every damn country they can, so they can set up their banks and issue credit cards to all the people that survive.
And in the health care bill in 2013, you'll be required to get your little checking account and your little government ID chip to get your Social Security to be able to buy or sell. You'll need that World Bank ID in the form of a, well, let's see, I think they've got a commercial for one of them called HealthLink. Yeah, George used to forget his medication, but now we got this little chip, and that tells him when to take his medication, tells the doctor how he's doing, and tells the doctor how much is in his bank account.
Yeah, they're going to have tabs on everybody, and then you're going to have 30,000 of these drones that are over there in the Middle East. They're already being issued. I know somebody said they're already up and flying. 30,000 drones to spy on American people. So what you do, whoever's controlling the stick to control those planes, you want to take somebody out like Clay Douglas or Chuck Boldwyn or Jim Fetzer or Steve Jones, just fly over his house, wait till you see him come out and just blow it up and say somebody set a bomb in his house or something happened over there. The gas thing blew up. He's dead. You take people out. That's what they're doing over there.
That's what they tried to do.
Take anybody out they want. Fly right over your house and take you out.
This whole thing, I said the 21st century, 20th century was the bloodiest. About the 21st century, they really pulled all the stops out to bring their one world government in. They've got the 9/11 was a start of World War III. It was a nuclear war. They just didn't, because the people that started the war, the people that pulled the trigger on the bombs here, flipped the switch on the bombs, those people also control the press. And they're pointing the finger at the Muslims as being behind all this to create a third world war that they've planned for 150 years, folks. And if I try to tell you the truth, I'm anti-Semitic. When can that take, if as Voltaire said a few hundred years ago, if you want to know who rules you, learn who you can't criticize.
Yeah, and who's destroying you? Who's sticking up your butt, reaming you like crazy? and you're saying, yeah, give me more. I believe everything you tell me. Oh God, it's unbelievable. It's just ridiculous.
And now, folks, here's the problem. If they control, first of all, the enemy, has all the money they need because they printed themselves. And if you need some of it, we'll be glad to loan it to you. So every dollar you've got in your pocket has been loaned to you by your generous masters. That money is created. As soon as you sign that loan paper, no money changes hands, nothing happens. Boom! Hey, you own property. Be sure you pay your property tax or we'll have to take it back. Be sure you pay your mortgage or we'll have to take it back. Now, that sounds like a scam to me. You may think that's, if you're listening to this, you may think I'm a right-wing extremist, or I'm a right-wing radical, or I'm a racist, or I'm an anti-Semite, but that don't make sense to me. That don't make sense to me. I mean, why should you have to pay for this house 3 times? First of all, the house is only worth $20,000, but you're paying $100,000 because of inflation. And for that $100,000 that they're going to generate by you signing that piece of paper, you owe $300,000. So $200,000 of that just goes into their pocket.
Hey, I mean, Clay, they also gave you a loan out of thin air.
That's right.
They gave you a loan out of thin air. So the profit is unbelievable. Thin air money being loaned out for, what, you say $20,000 and now $300,000?
Yes.
It didn't cost them a thing to lend you that. They get $300,000 and lend you for nothing. What a joke. Yes. The money system. I was going to tell you something, Clay. Are you still there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. The drones.
We have 15 minutes left on this thing here, and by the way, my Jew friend down here, the one that's too chicken shit to call me, the one that won't pick up the phone, because he doesn't have a phone. He's got Skype, but he doesn't want me to know who he is, because he lives in town with me, and he's afraid I might slap the shit out of him if I found out who he really is. Now, and that actually might happen. So I don't know. He's probably wise keeping him to. But this is a business, folks. I started this as a business. I had other businesses, but I started it as a business to do this radio show and to do the magazine because I thought the American people needed to know the truth. We'd already been sucked into the war in Vietnam. We stopped that. I helped stop that. I did an underground newspaper back in the 60s. Not putting down, never put down the veterans, and didn't spit on any veterans. Wouldn't, and nobody ever better do that around me. But folks, we stopped the war.
They're being used. They're being used like prostitutes.
That's right, they are. And you know, I was a 17-year-old kid, man. I wasn't ready. You know, I didn't know I was violating rules by having too high an IQ. But I started the magazine, I started Thunder Riders, I started the radio show to do advertising, to do all that, and I ran it as a business. I'm not trying to profit off anybody, I'm not trying to con anybody. I've told you about Liberty Villages. You can do it in your backyard, in your neighborhood, if you'd get together and talk to your neighbors. Just listen to what I say. I've told you, don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything. Check it out for yourself. That's what this whole show is about.
Everything I said today, you can check it out. It's all on the internet. 911scholars.ning.com. That's where my base site of all my posters and all my videos and all my blogs are basically there. 911scholars.ning.com. I was going to tell you, Clay, about what people, all these things are being imposed upon the American people. The government is saying this is to protect you from terrorists. It's an anti-terrorist measure, when in fact what they are is nothing but a spying method, so that they can find out who the activists are, who don't agree with the government, so they can be isolated. Why the hell would you have these drones? You haven't had a single terrorist caught in this country that wasn't set up by the CIA since 9/11. Not a one. Not even one. And the borders are completely open. Just about. And so what the hell's going on here? The people are believing, oh, yeah, we need to be protected even more, man. Why don't you just put one of them drones stationary like a drizzle over my house and protect my house? If you could spy on me all day long, help me. Protect me. You see my point?
Yes, sir.
Wake up, people.
Now,
everything about you is going to be known by the government. They'll take you out whenever they want.
That's right, and by the way, they don't need too much surveillance gear. You're carrying their surveillance gear in your pocket.
Right. So they overdo it. It's overkill. Overkill.
Well, they this let's see here. Okay, this is, I've always run this as a business. Now, I ask for donations. Why? Because the Jews have taken down all of my advertising.
Yeah. Yeah, they were.
And here we go. Here's an example. You can see this on the chat room. The 832 number on my chat room is the way you listen to the show. There. You want me to call you Grand Rabbi instead of a Jewish troll? Then call me up at my phone number, 520-413-2397, and talk to me and make a deal. You know, you want to be a producer for one of my movies? You want to be a distributor for some of my books? You want to help? You want to give the Jewish people a good name? If you Jews were smart, and weren't trolls, you'd be calling me to do business with me. I made a lot of money with Jews. Aaron Russo, Don Levin, Sheldon Linter, lots of people in the paraphernalia industry I made a lot of money with, and made them a lot of money. Yeah,
Hey,
you would need control, of course. Well, that's why I'm a control freak's nightmare. You don't control me. No one controls me. I am the free American. I am Clay Douglas, and I don't take any bullshit. I won't be pushed around. I won't be bullied. I don't like bullies. And it's like you said, like I've said a few times at karaoke. You know, never been the kind to, you know, walk up and start a fight, but I'll finish one every time.
I guess we're almost at the end of today's event.
Yes, sir. We've got about, what do we got here? We've got 9 minutes left here, and I will have you back. I will have you back up. We're going to. I've got some pretty good guests up, and you know, I'm looking for people. The whole Liberty Village thing. You know, Brad Pitt put a little money in it and did that in New Orleans. We're going to put solar and wind on every house in a block in a neighborhood. And if you're generating your own power and you're using, you're not tearing, we don't need to tear anything down. We don't need to defeat anybody. This is our country. We do have the Constitution. We got a lot of people that swore an oath to hold to defend the Constitution. And all we need is enough people being as aware as Chuck and I, trying to get you to be aware, to respond. And if the Jews were smart, if this troll on here was a real rabbi, they'd be calling me and sitting down and talking to me just the same way I can talk with Aaron Russo, Henry Macau, and all the other real Jews out there, real Americans, not dual citizen, you know, rabbi Talmud sucking conspiracy. So to point the finger at us, calling us conspiracy theorists when they've been conspiring to enslave humanity for about 4,000 years.
Hey, you could call them terrorist assistants. The real terrorists from Israel, Mossad, and all the rest of these supporters can be labeled terrorist assistants. What they call it, sinew. What they call that thing where anybody can help Israel? Sinew something they call it. You remember that word? But they got people all over the world that help. What's the name they call them?
Sanarans, something like that. I just call them scum. It's easier.
They're terrorist assistants is what they are. The number one terrorist country in the world is Israel, and the United States is attached to them as the co-sponsor. The two greatest terrorist countries in the world. No doubt about it. Anytime a bomb goes off anywhere in the world, the first thing you think is Israel or the United States or both of them together. And when they prove they didn't do it, not in the mainstream media, but in all the media.
I want you to listen. Just a moment. This is the media. This is the people that are out there. Here's the trolls that are out there. Oh, sister. She called him a chicken shit. Oh, such language. Here's a holier than thou. Brother Clay has to be receptive to the idea that he is not in control. I am in control of my life. I'm in control of everything I say. I'm in control of this radio station. I am in control of this website. And you don't have any control, and you don't have any influence on me, and you don't have any power on me. And because you won't pick up the phone and call me and talk to me, my phone number is on every website. Because you won't do that, you can't be a guest on my show like Chuck Boldwyn, because you're not real. You are nothing out there. You are simply one of these Israelis who aren't really Israelites, who aren't anything. I'm the real Israelite. You are dust under my feet. You support terrorism. And any of you Christians out there that are supporting a foreign country over your country, you basically qualify as traitors too. And I think it's a good thing they built those concentration camps. I think it's a good thing that FEMA did all that, because we're going to need some place to put all of you traitors when we have you arrested after a trial. And I I may even endorse the use of the other crap you've created, like the guillotines,
and the boxes that they put the dead people in, the coffins.
That's right. Nice of you to have printed those for us. Now, here's, somebody told me one time, I said, how are we going to fight this New World Order? How are we going to resist these? I mean, they've been in power for thousands of years. They said, Clay, they don't have the power they want you to think they have. If they did, we would still be under the Syrian Empire. We'd be working for Iran. We'd still be under the Russian Empire. We'd still be under the British Empire. No, they only have the illusion of power. They don't have any real power. Here's the real power. You, your neighbor. As soon as you stop being part of the consensus. In other words, if you sit there and you listen to the guy on the stage tell you how they got to put this fluoride in your water because it's good for you, and you keep your mouth shut, you have just voted for being poisoned. You have just poisoned your children because you've become part of the consensus. If you stand up and go, fluoride's a poison, you're not going to give it to my kids. What do you want to do? You want to go to trial? You want to go on trial for murder? You want to go on trial for killing people? No, we're not putting fluoride in our water. Then you have just stopped the New World Order. You've just stopped Agenda 21 in its tracks. You got more power than you think you do. And if you folks out there were listening to me and doing what I say, I'm not telling you to follow me. I don't care whether you lead or follow. If you can't lead and you won't follow, then get the hell out of the way. And as Patrick Henry said, you don't get away from us. Get away from us. That's all. I don't know anybody in the Patriot movement that wants anything more than to be left alone, to keep their families safe, to keep themselves healthy, and to profit from their labor and their ideas. Now, does that make me a radical? If it does, in your mind, congratulations, you're a communist.
And when we're going to wake up the troops over so they realize that they're fighting a stupid cause?
We've been trying to do that for 25 years. I've worked with Bo Greitz. I've worked with Jack McLam. They made, Bo's got distracted too, permanent member of the counterintelligence. Yeah, he saved Randy Weaver. He also arrested Randy Weaver. So, come on.
Clay, you remember the guy that was sending DVDs to troops over there, and then I heard in the media they were all pissed off about sending those to the troops over there about 9/11 and stuff. Whatever happened to that guy? He was in the news and on YouTube. They probably arrested his ass, and you never heard of him no more. You remember what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about Manning?
I'm not who it was. It was a couple years ago. He was sending.
Oh no, Manning's the one. Manning's the one that released the video of the helicopter shooting the kids.
No, this is way before that. 9/11 maybe loose change videos. It was sending thousands of them to individual troops overseas to watch, and they got a hold of that, and it was in the media trying to denigrate him as traitor and not supporting the troops.
Yeah, that's
never heard of him.
That's never heard of him anymore. And they did the same thing. They did the same thing to Ellsberg and others. Now, folks, I'm gonna sign this off. Chuck Boldwyn will be back with me because 9/11 was the start of nuclear war on the United States. It's declared, and who would have that many nukes laying around that they could spare? Oh, let's see, that would be